Welcome to Lockdown Economy, a UN registered nonprofit initiative by think tank AlterContacts to help small businesses and self employed professionals overcome the challenges of the pandemic and reactivate the economy. I'm Christiana Finnegan, and our guest today is LaVerne Daley, CEO of LGlobal. Welcome, LaVerne. Thank you so much for
Thank
participating
you.
today.
It is an honor to be here. Thank you, Christiana.
Awesome. What do you do as a business?
Okay, so as you said, I'm the CEO of L Global. The actual title of our company is Your Life No Borders, and we do business as L Global. The tagline and the title will tell you something a little bit about our business. We believe borders are mental and geographical, so we look to eliminate those borders in helping businesses expand and grow revenue internationally.
Wow.
So we are a team of international business strategists, and we help small to medium-sized businesses expand. Specifically, we help them anywhere along the revenue chain: sales, marketing, branding, operating infrastructure, strategic planning, leadership and development, and public relations. And we also do it for some specific industries, which we can talk about later.
Wow. Awesome. That's amazing. Where is you said it's not L Global. It's what is the
No,
name that you
L
said?
Global. You may say L Global.
Okay,
Would
okay.
like-
So I'll call L Global. Where is your company located?
We are headquartered in beautiful Miami, Florida. So
Ooh.
yes, sunny Miami, Florida. We are headquartered here, but I spend significant amount of time each year on the road, traveling generally speaking, is throughout Europe. And I actually just returned from 5.5 months in Europe,
Wow.
which was quite the challenge traveling during the pandemic.
Right. Yes, yes. And since you do most of your business in Europe, or do you do any business in Asia as well?
Well, we haven't gotten to Asia yet, but we hopefully this video will help me get there.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any employees?
Mm. The folks who work for me are primarily consultants, and I have some support staff.
Yeah, yeah. And how did the lockdown and the pandemic affect your business?
Well, how did it not affect my business? I mean, it affected it in so many ways. I mean, our clients are small to medium sized businesses, and as you know, that segment was specifically affected by the pandemic,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And especially since we are a service business, and in working with these companies to help them expand and grow revenue, we do also work with governments and large institutions. However, the primary area of impact for me was balancing that business and balancing our revenue in order to obviously accommodate the wild swings with COVID. As I was traveling, I mean, I left the US last year in August. And for the past 3 years, I leave for generally around August for about, 6 months, for about maybe 4 to 6 months. And I'm traveling in different parts of Europe. And my goal, the purpose of my travels, is to establish strategic partnerships in the countries where we will be doing business, because it's very important to us as an organization to have those key strategic partners who represent us within those countries. That's a key part
Yes.
of our business model. So I travel to establish those partnerships. I travel to increase our client base, and also to work towards leveraging some of the opportunities that we see when we're traveling, that you're never going to get just from doing research online. We do extensive research, but you're never going to get it unless you sort of immerse yourself. So that's kind of one of our value adds as an organization. Our core competency is that we immerse ourselves in the regions that we service.
Wow, yeah, that's really important too, to have some foot on the ground.
Yes.
Did you have, a decrease or an increase in clients because of the pandemic?
Well, definitely a decrease.
Yeah, I can
Definitely
imagine.
a decrease, yeah, because my our base is small to medium sized companies, And, there are some specific sectors that did really well during this time, distribution, logistics, there is healthcare, there's, and anything supporting any supply chain supporting that. There is e-commerce and technology, right?
Right.
So those were the growth sectors during this time, the primary growth sectors. Well, the sectors that we assist are entertainment. So underneath that comes film, fashion, food.
Mhm.
Then there's technology is one of our sectors. Also professional services, government, education, and tourism and hospitality and nonprofits.
Yeah.
So as you can hear, half of the segments that we support were having some real challenges, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fashion, tourism, small
Yeah.
businesses in general are struggling. Because of the pandemic, what are some key challenges that you face as a business?
Well, the key challenges for us, is, we're business strategists. So, we're facing the same challenges that many of our customers are facing. So, but what's particularly challenging for us is spending the time to pivot and manage our own business as we're trying to work with our clients externally. So it's just that juggling act because, we're moving very fast. As I mentioned, I spend a lot of time traveling overseas. And while I'm there, in order to help our customers to just move in real time, because there's a lot of fast movement that has to happen with COVID in
Yeah.
terms of, readjusting strategy and helping those clients in a very real way to pivot their businesses. So in spending a lot of time there helping clients, then also, looking back at my own business, right? And then, turning that lens on us, in order to help us consistently feed our pipeline. So that has been, particularly challenging during COVID. So I'll share a quick bit of information for you that you might find interesting. Is, when I left the U.S., I left in August, and I went to Portugal, then the UK for 14 days. I was quarantined there. Then to Malta to meet a contact there. Then from Malta to Sicily. Then to Puglia to meet with one of our film festivals. I'm also the board chair for a film festival, one of the film festivals that asked me to speak last year, and then to Rome, and then to Nice, France. I was there during the terrorist attack,
Oh,
5 minutes walking distance to the church where there was that beheading, there was a terrorist attack, and then back to Rome. So that was my 5 months.
wow. It sounds like a lot of stops.
And in between, trying to, well, what happened is, every few days, the rules would change, and
Yeah.
from country to country it would change. So it was incredibly difficult to, manage an itinerary or manage a calendar, so, it just became a real nightmare as far as the calendaring and the juggling act was concerned. That said,
Yes.
some key opportunities emerged with my technology partner in Europe. And we developed a phenomenal post-COVID cultural heritage tourism platform that we're now proposing to several governments. We're in conversations with Senegal, we're in conversations with Serbia, and I have strategic partners in those markets. We're in conversations with Ghana, because what we do is we do a lot of research to find emerging markets, and those who are innovative and scrappy, we look to work with them to help them emerge in these key sectors.
Yes, yes, and there will be a lot of new business emerging from the pandemic, right? And
Yes.
capitalizing on that opportunity is very important. You mentioned something about how different countries had different rules, and some countries had strict lockdowns, and some countries were pretty
Yes.
open. And coming, as you are looking in goals for business, how did you solve the challenge of not knowing when things would be open or when things would be closed?
You just go with the flow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that literally, because that's all you can do, because there's no control. I have absolutely no control over that. So what I did is I picked the point that where I was most comfortable. Whenever I travel every year, usually I pick Italy as my sort of the home base because it's geographically centrally located in
Right.
Europe. It's in a good spot. And also, who doesn't want to meet in Italy, right? So I don't have to twist anyone's arm to meet me there,
Yep, yeah.
yeah, generally speaking. So yeah, so usually I pick Rome, and I have many friends, many associates. I've a direct contact with the U.S. Embassy, so I've got a really good, strong network in there. So normally I pick there. So I was really grateful that by the time I moved around a bit, and some of the places had were more difficult than others. When I got to Rome, they were in the yellow zone. So the
Okay.
yellow zone means that restaurants are open until 6 p.m. and then no more service. And then there's a curfew overnight. The red zone means complete lockdown, and the orange zone means I think you have takeout service. So in navigating when the zones were going to change, at a certain point, I just started to look at my long-term business and some of the higher level types of projects that we were going to propose, such as the cultural heritage post-COVID initiative that we're proposing to governments. And I said, well, let's look at some of those types of initiatives. They're longer term. We can start the conversations now. Eventually, I'll need to get back there to do the presentations in person. But let's really work on mining those relationships now, so that the timing will come together, it will align.
Yeah.
And that seems to have worked. I actually just had a really good phone call with the cultural minister of Senegal. We did a presentation this past week, and they're waiting for me to come there to present in person.
Awesome. That sounds
Yeah.
incredible. And you
Yeah.
mentioned something that I think that a lot of business could benefit from, which is not only looking for the short term of like, how am I going to generate revenue for this month, but also looking at long-term plan. So in line with that kind of mentality, what have you tried to stimulate the business or to attract more customers?
Well, one of the things that we did is, well, one of the things that I did is I looked back at my own organization, and I did take some time to take stock and to see what's really, really important to me as an organization, and how do I make it the best it can be, and how do I have it reflect everything that we want. Right. Because sometimes you're running hard and fast. And, so there were certain, times where I was in a hotel room and I couldn't do anything because we were suddenly on lockdown. So I said, all right, let me just take a look at LGlobal, and let me just make sure that operationally it is exactly what I want. So
Yeah.
while we were away, so that's one of the things that I recommend, by the way. So while I was away, we redesigned the business to a social enterprise model.
Okay.
And what that means is we are a for-profit organization. I serve on many nonprofit boards because I do believe that it's important that your business also provides some global good. That
Yeah.
is a personal value of mine. But so we redesigned the business to a social enterprise model. And so that means we're a for-profit company. However, a percentage of our revenue goes toward some social global good. And we chose 4 areas. We chose leadership and entrepreneurship in women. We chose sustainability, education, and food insecurity in children and families. So we chose those 4. So, and how it works in actual practice is, if I'm doing business, say I'm doing business, or I pitch something to, say, the government of, say, Serbia, Senegal, or one of these countries, or Singapore. Included in that particular project is a percentage that goes right back to working with an NGO in the country. A percentage of our net profit, and it's normally about 3% of the net profit from any deal that we're able to achieve or acquire. 3% of that goes right back to the country within any one of those 4 areas of need. And obviously, we would let them decide, because it's their country, so they can decide which area of need they think is is the strongest or the greatest, and we would work with an NGO to donate that portion right back to the country. So I was able to take the time to really think through the model, and now it is exactly what we want, because we weren't a nonprofit, but that kind of work was always important to me. But in this way, we get to just, we get to align everything well.
Yeah. And I love that you redesigned your company so that it can also benefit wherever you're working in a nonprofit way. I love that. Do you know how your customers and your competition are doing right now?
Well, yeah. I mean, the big boys, we're a consulting company, and, we do a lot of strategy work. So the big guys, and we all know the big names, they're doing great. They're doing fine. They're doing great. The folks who are, who service niche industries, such as myself, who services small to medium sized companies, it's a mixed bag. I mean, some of them have gone out of business. Some of them just, aren't doing very well. And some of them have decided to pivot their business to different segments to perform different services. As we know, everyone has gone online. So what a good number of my competitors have decided to do is they've pivoted to more of a training and facilitation model. I'm seeing that, to where they're working with maybe companies and maybe training and facilitation and that kind of work. And because since a lot of folks are now online, there are some opportunities that have opened up in there. Some have just have decided to just wait it out. And some of them, quite frankly, have decided to go find a job.
Yeah. Even though it's really hard right now.
Yeah, some of just, go find a job, because, because they may not have the capital to wait it out. Because, when this all started, we all thought, a couple of months, right?
Yeah.
A couple of months, a couple of months, it'll be fine. Well, it's been what, over a year? So
Yeah. Yeah. In the US, it'll be officially a year in a few weeks, which is kind of scary. But looking into the future, what are you, how is your business going now? And what are you planning on for the coming months?
well, in the coming months, we're going to we're going to focus a little bit more on benchmarking, and doing a deeper dive on how on balancing our short and midterm revenue, because that's become critically important. Clearly traveling for 6 months out of the year is not inexpensive. clearly there's a cost attached, and doing it during COVID probably costs 3 times as much as it has in past years.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Because we also had to factor in all the quarantines.
oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And then also you have to factor in, meetings changing at the last minute because folks just can't fly, they can't come. So, you've got to factor in all this downtime that occurred that normally, when I book this kind of travel, it's, 3 days here, 3 days here, we're moving it along, we're moving it along. Couldn't do that. So it was incredibly expensive this year, and obviously the revenue stream, is sort of delayed because of exactly. So now it's, now that I'm back in the US, it's like, okay, let's look at where we are, and let's look at balancing our short-term revenue, and
Yeah.
let's see who we can help, and who we can help quickly, and in a way that's not going to just, drain our resources.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what that means is, I'm a hired gun, but I'm also a hired speaking gun. I do a lot of public speaking in areas that we consult in. So I'm broadening that particular vertical
Mhm.
to be out doing a lot more speaking engagements, potentially maybe doing some facilitations at the colleges, speaking. I'm asked to speak at some of the local universities, and overseas. They did ask me to do business association, to speak at a business association, overseas, to these, small incubators, these business incubators that are looking to grow. So, so it's just broadening, the scope of the work that I am specifically doing as the visionary in the face of the company, in order to increase our short-term revenue.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, I think that it's a very uncertain time, but you seem like you know exactly where you're going. You seem like you have good tracks, and so I have like high hopes for you. And I have one more question. As my last question is, Name 3 things that you need help with.
Sure. So, three things I need help with. So, well, number one of the key initiatives that I wanted for my business when I launched it maybe 5 or 6 years ago is I wanted a strong advisory board, because it's very important. Because I wanted to, these are the things that I advise my clients, right? So now you've got a physician, heal thyself. So yes, I wanted a strong advisory board, and my advisory board should be comprised of entrepreneurs who started out, they were just scrappy. They grew a multi-million-dollar business. They grew an international business. They're perhaps retired, and they'd like to keep their finger on the socket. They'd like to keep their finger on the pulse of things, and they'd like to, just kind of join us, and, quarterly, just, we're going to get together and have like a brain dump, and, they're going to hold us accountable, that kind of thing, because that's very important for, everyone needs accountability partners, and CEOs need that, especially because we're operated within a vacuum, and the higher you are up on the food chain, the more isolating it actually is.
Sure.
So yeah, so it's very important. So that's one of the things that I would like to, I'm putting it out there to, anyone who's listening who fits that description, and who has, who feels connected to our mission and the things that we care about that I've already discussed, to just give me a call. Right. So, and I'm sure we're going to leave my information at the end.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely. It
great,
will be
great,
linked
great.
in the description below.
Perfect. So it's, or you can just go to www.lbrand.global. We're a .global, not a .com, because you always have to have in front of you where you're going, right? So yeah, you're right. So you just go there, and you can just go to the contact form, and you can just schedule on my Calendly. You can schedule directly there if you like. So that's number one. That's one area that we need help in. Number two, I talked about growing short-term revenue, right? So if you are a small to medium-sized company, and you've got a strategic plan, you don't have a strategic plan, you're wondering how you can dust this thing off and come up with some innovative post-COVID initiatives, or how are you going to make this thing work, reach out to us. While I was traveling, my researchers, we've come up with some phenomenal solutions that really are where we're using technology, and in order to help folks just advance. So reach out to us. The consultation is free. Consultation is always free, and we can talk about it a little bit. And if we are the right resource for you, we'll let you know. And if we're not, I'll direct you to someone who can help you. That's number two. Number three, let's see, what's number three? What other area do we need help? We're always looking for strategic partners across the globe, right? So we're always looking for partners who believe in the greater good. I'll share this one little bit about what's important to us, because as we look for partners, it'll be important that our partners align with this philosophy. I believe that, I believe this, and the clients that we choose are all folks who are looking toward doing some global good. Now, they don't need to be nonprofits, and actually I prefer if they're not necessarily nonprofits, but it's important that all of the organizations that we work with, that there is some corporate social responsibility platform. Okay. There has to be something that these organizations believe in. Dogs, the environment, climate change, doesn't matter to me what it is. But it's a very important component to us, for the companies that we help to advance, that there is some greater global initiative that the leaders of this organization believe in. So that's important to us. So as we look for strategic partners globally, they've got to be in line with that thinking. So that's a third aspect of what we're looking for. Key strategic partners who are interested in the things that we're interested in, that want to do some global good, want to make some great money along the way, and have some great fun along the way, because we like to have fun at LGlobal.
Awesome. That is great to hear. So basically, contact LaVerne and just, go from there.
Absolutely. The consultation is always free. So 30 minutes, we'll talk about some things. Hopefully we'll have a great exchange. And, and honestly, at the end of the call, if I can't help you, I have an incredible network. So I can most likely direct you to someone who can.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, LaVerne, for sharing your pandemic experience. Thank you for all the beautiful work that you do as well. I hope this is helpful and inspiring to others. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. Feel free to contact LaVerne Daley using the links on the description below or the website that she mentioned a little earlier in the video. I invite you to hit the thumbs up to this video and subscribe to our channel where we have many more insights for you from many different countries and business sectors. Stay tuned.